Welcome back. Today is practically an interactive session with us. We'd like to hear, get people's views on it because there are lots of people going through what we're about to talk about. Children living with disabilities or abnormalities often live happy lives, and caring for them can be challenging, painful, and traumatic, while for some parents, it's enriching and rewarding. But like it's often said, we are stronger than each other. So we ask, if you knew clearly that your child will be disabled during pregnancy, would you terminate that child? You can call us on 070-8066-801. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag Yourview TVC so we can read your tweets. Now, as I said earlier, there are lots of people going through this right now, and we're not doctors, we're not counselors, we're just sharing our own experiences. So we'd like our callers to call in, let us know what you've been through, or what you went through, or what you're going through concerning this area, just to encourage others or to discourage others in other ways on this situation. So let me start with who's ready to go first? YK?
I'll go from my own personal experience.
Yes.
As when I was pregnant with my daughter, I went to my doctor because I had fear of having a child with Down syndrome or something. I wasn't sure. So I went to my doctor and I wanted to have this amniocentesis, and he was ready to do it for me. But the only problem was that at the time I went to him, the results, the baby would have been maybe 5 months of, by the time the results would come out, that mean 5 months. So I decided not to terminate. I decided not to even do the test. Because if it had come out, if I had done it earlier and it was maybe like 2 months or a month, I'll probably have terminated it. But at the time that the result would have come out, the baby in my belly would have been like 5 months. So I didn't, I didn't want, for me, that would not have been. Now, so for me, I can understand if you would terminate it. I also can understand if you decide not to. It is now, is the person capable of showing love to that child?
Because there was a report that we read, this lady, Katie Price, in the report that we read, her child was born blind and had autism and suffers Prader-Willi syndrome. Now, those are 3 wrapped up in one. And even though she gave birth to this child, she was saying that if she had known earlier, she would have actually aborted that child. According to her, she was 23 when she got married and got pregnant, and at 23-year-old, she was totally confused. She didn't even understand. It was almost as though her life was taken from her, because now everything now was about this child. So a lot of people are going through that situation right now, where, unfortunately, in Nigeria, some we don't have. Some not I won't say we don't have, but some people don't have access to that test to test if how your child will be. But some do, and some have that opportunity to know, okay, is he going to have this sickness? So the question is, if we find out, what do you think? What would you do? We're talking personal now. We're not saying generalizing.
I've been through this kind of thing. My pregnancy after Gufran was very trying. It was from day one a problematic one, because I was spotting all through. I was visiting the doctors every day. I was on drugs. I was on injections to keep the pregnancy. For every week, I had to go and take progesterone shots, and it wasn't easy at all. So in one of my sessions with the gynecologist, I think I met 3 different gynecologists in the same hospital because I was really worried. And all 3 of them decided at some point to advise that when you have a pregnancy like this, it means nature is trying to take care of itself. When a woman is pregnant and it's most likely that something is wrong with the pregnancy, that nature would naturally let it go. So your body is getting ready to let it out. And you know, I couldn't accept that. I just looked at them that go, if you people don't know your work, let me go and meet my mom. I'm sure she knows one alagbo that will sort my problem for me. You know, I just kept, the first time, that was the first reaction. My husband was just looking at me that as Muslims, we are supposed to accept whatever, Allah has destined for us. And he kept saying to me, what if Allah has destined that the child will not be? But everybody that said that to me, I felt because you don't know how much I had spent seeing doctors to even get pregnant in the first place. So I just felt, you people don't understand what I'm going through, so you just keep your mouth. But at the third one, and at that time, the progesterone was now affecting my legs. I could hardly move my right leg. So I felt, anytime I'm climbing a staircase, I'll be like, God, if the solution is, let your will be done. When I started saying let your will be done, I had come to reality,
Yes.
to terms with it. And I just kept saying, let your will be done. I had to do a surgery again to keep the pregnancy because my cervix just kept opening up to let it go. They kept saying stress, rest, sleep, all sorts of things. I did everything I think I could do. I even blamed myself for not doing enough. But the body just kept opening up to let the pregnancy go. And at some point I felt, really. But when the doctors kept, the last one answered to me that if this child comes with a particular, that is only when something is wrong with the fetus developing,
Yes.
that the body would naturally let it go. That usually they give you all these treatments, not because they think it will stop it, but in most cases, in some cases, it's that they helped, and those pregnancies have turned out good, and the children are very well formed. And I saw my child from the ultrasound looking very healthy. In fact, moving very well. We checked everything. Brain was forming very well. So how will I reconcile both,
in that kind of situation, Nima, because the truth is that there are some people that will advise that, oh, this child, they would advise you to abort. But there was a case I also read, there's another report I read where the woman insisted that, no, I'm going to have this child. And she put in the spiritual angle where she's going to pray about that. Whatever is wrong with this child, she began to cancel it and then to get that reversal spiritually. And by the time the child was born, the child came out normal, even though the doctor advised several times that they should abort that child.
Probably based on her own health or based on her history. That's why the doctor was advising to let it go, not because anything was wrong with that child. If most times when the child is fine, that's when your prayers will easily be answered because the child alone can survive the 9 months gestation period. I've talked to a lot of my friends who have had the kind of experience I had, losing a child by 5 months. In my religion, that's a child, because you have to do the burial. That's no longer above 120 days. That's no longer just a clot of blood or something. So most of them always wonder that I could have put that child. When I went into premature labor and I had to let that baby go, my mom was crying. Put her for bottle. Doctor, help me. Do you understand? And I looked, and the doctor had counseled me before they induced labor that your water broke. There's no way. There's no way in any way that you can keep this child. I felt hurt in a lot of ways. In fact, till now when I talk about it, it's too tender for me. And I just looked at my mom that the child was moving when I had him. They gave the child to me and I was like, so and within 30 seconds to a minute, he kept quiet and that was it. And at that point for me, it was like I killed my own child because, I could have, insisted on lying in the hospital for 9 months, doing anything. I could afford it. I paid heavily for even the 5 months. So, in fact,
it's very emotional. Don't start crying because you're going to make all of us start crying on the set.
There's a name for it. It's called euthanasia, where the painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable or painful disease, or the person has irreversible coma. So you, as the person there, you now have the right to tell the doctors to, probably cut off supply of, maybe if the person is on life support or whatever. However, this topic today is not a yes or a no answer.
No.
I think it's an individual thing. Because there's a young lady called Helen Adams Keller. She was born deaf, dumb, and blind. She was, at some point, she got so restless. I can't remember the name of her teacher now, but it was her teacher that took it upon herself. The way she started teaching her, she would run running water on her palm to teach her, and she started writing on her palm. Then she now started getting all her senses, she was utilizing, despite the fact that she was blind, deaf, and dumb. At age 11, she wrote her first book. She died at age 88, Morayo. There are some challenges that are tough. I have seen cases. Look at Sean Stevenson. I don't know if a lot of people know Sean Stevenson. He said it, that when he was born, the doctor told the parents that he was not going to live the next 48 hours. And whenever he gives his seminar, he says that all the doctors that predicted that he was not going to live are all dead. And he's the one that is the only doctor living. So it's a case of what you can handle as human beings is what we have on our inside, our minds.
I have to take a quick commercial break because we'll come back. You mentioned a very, very important situation. But somebody living in Nigeria will say, okay, would those people have survived
In
if they
Nigeria.
were born in this, our own climate?
So we'll
Stay
come
with
back.
us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. As we said, today is sort of emotional because the truth is that nobody wants to lose a child. Nobody wants to carry a child for X amount of months and be told that we need to terminate, because you're already thinking of when this child will be born, how you're going to hold this child, how you're going to play with this child, and suddenly somebody says, oh, he's going to have Down syndrome, he's going to have this. Now, there are people who have children with Down syndrome and they've been able to commit a lot of resources to help these children live normal lives. Now, it hasn't been a walk in the park, certainly. It's been a lot of challenge, but the truth is that how easy is it having that kind of child in this environment? You've not even finished taking care of yourself. It's hard enough to get by. It's not now having a special care to take care of a child who needs special needs. We had a guest here before.
Yeah,
that
had-
woman, I can't remember her
He's
name.
my friend Muiwa.
Yes, your friend.
His son has Down syndrome. But you see, the thing is, I think that with Down syndrome, you can't even look after the child. You have answer the call.
Sorry, I didn't sorry to cut you off. Erimaba from Edo State. Good morning. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Orimaba from Ohodwa in Edo State.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, my sister. Yeah, this topic for today is a very touching one. It's an experience you don't even wish your enemy. And I remember some time ago when we also passed through this kind of experience, one cannot really say what the decision you have to take until you experience it. Therefore, in this part of the world, we're also very religious. Therefore, you just allow let God's will prevail. I think that is my decision about this thing. Let God's will prevail.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, Waiki, you're saying
Thank you.
something.
Yeah, I totally agree with him, because you can never know. It is only the person it is happening to that will know what will happen. Because I know a lot of times when SS and SS get pregnant, when they marry and get
AS
pregnant.
and AS.
AS and AS, or SS and AS or something. Because there is a 1 in 4 possibility of them having children with this sickle cell. They are always advised to terminate, because they will normally put them through the amniocentesis, and if they find that the child has SS, because you are bringing in a child into pain. The life of a child with sickle cell is very painful. And a lot of the children ask their parents, why? Why did you do this to me?
I have a call from Oshodi. Eniola, are you there from Oshodi?
Good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Good morning, Auntie Moraya.
Good morning.
Good morning, Uwa, and anyone that is there.
Good morning.
There's actually no light now, so I just called to greet you all. I really appreciate
Thank
all
you so much.
what.
Thank you very much, Eniola. Yes.
Hello. Okay,
Uwa.
someone is tweeting. Akiyemi Lukman is saying it's basically wrong according to Islam. I think I should establish the Islamic rule on this, because a lot of us go religious. In Islam, when a woman is pregnant and if the pregnancy becomes a threat to her life, or for any reason, the mother's well-being is at stake, or the pregnancy at that point, maybe something is wrong with the pregnancy and that would also affect her life, Islam allows the termination of pregnancy only with that excuse, because abortion is, the general rule is that it's wrong in Islam, but the exception is that before 120 days, before the spirit is breathed into that child, which is the rule, that child can be, that pregnancy can be terminated before 120 days. But after 120 days, the child is no longer, the clot, that child becomes a person. At that point, you no longer have a say over the child. You now accept that child as Allah's destiny. If the child reaches full gestation and you give birth to that child, you have to take care of that child. But you are allowed exceptionally under Islamic law.
Let me take Danny from Bagada. Danny, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
I want to say I really appreciate all you ladies. You inspire me a lot. Every morning I wake up, I watch your view, and I learn so much from the program.
Thank you.
I'd like to just make a few contributions. There was a time I was pregnant for my third child. I wanted to have the last one. But before that time, I was very ill. I had a liver disease, and I was taking a lot of medication. I had to travel out of the country to seek for further, health care. And eventually, I got pregnant, and I was told that all the drugs that I was actually taking at that time were very strong, and I needed to actually stop taking the drugs or terminate the pregnancy. And I wanted to be alive for my other children and for my husband. And my husband was like, let's just terminate it. I want it to be fine. I need it to be alive and all that. But I wanted to keep the child. So for like 3 months, I was off the drugs. I was just praying. I was trying to be strong, and I was, trying to do a little positive self-talk. But after 3 months, I was blind. I knew, that means I couldn't, there was no way I could keep myself without, this drug. Because I knew that actually helping me to keep up, my liver and all that. But after 3 months, I went to see like 3 different doctors, and they told me, Madam, you need to be alive and you need to be well. It's easier now. The baby is still small. It was about, early in the 4 months, and you have to just terminate this because there's no way you can stop this drug and be able to, stay well and stay alive. And at that point, I was like, God, would you want me to die, leave my kids, leave my family, or would you rather want me to just terminate this one? It was really a tough time, for me at that time because I couldn't imagine myself as a young lady. I never had to have an abortion. Why now that you are a married woman with one kid? I was praying, but at that point it was tough. So eventually, what did I do? I have to just, take it out. So here I am today. I'm not regretting it because I know that it would have been bad if I had gone, and I know that I would have even died with the pregnancy. So I stopped doing this. So at a point, so sometimes it depends on the situation you find yourself.
Exactly.
Because it's not easy.
Thank you so much, Danny.
I look back today and I'm grateful to God. So really, just take.
Thank you so much, Danny, for your sharing.
I went to Modukwe home sometimes. I don't know how many years ago was this now. We visited the home, and in that place, you could see a lot of abilities in disability. The only issue that I have in that place, for instance, is the way they handle the children. I feel that, because those people are not, some of them are actually grandfathers, because if you hear their ages compared to their sizes, But the thing is, it is handling. The difference between, you can now differentiate between how it works abroad and how it works in Nigeria. We here, we don't have enough equipment, we don't have enough tools to actually handle children living with disabilities, Because when I went there, I was wondering, with the number of celebrities, in short, the day I was there, the number of celebrities that came, kind of, gifts and everything, cash gifts and all that they had, I thought that they would have been able to take care of those children, better. There was a young girl that could not, I think she was handicapped or so, but if you see the artwork that she was painting, there's so much. And you see, when you're disabled like that, your mind sense comes alive, is stronger. So I'm saying that, you see, because there are some people, if your life is not at risk as a mother, it's a different thing entirely if your life is at risk. But if your life is not at risk, I think there should still be some hope for that child.
Let me take 1 second. Let me take this call from Dupe, from Abule Egba. Dupe, are you there?
Yeah, good morning. I'm there.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful show. I greet everybody.
Good morning.
I really feel for Tanima. As in, it's so touching. I've been through something like that, but I didn't terminate it. I was having thyroid disease prior to the pregnancy, and the drugs were really strong, and the doctor advised me to terminate it. So I made a lot of research. I asked a lot of specialists that should I, because my doctor said there's risk of deformity and other stuff. But I held on to my faith. I did a lot of research, and I asked a lot of questions. Everybody told me to keep it, to go for it. And today, I have very beautiful baby girl. Everywhere I go, everybody wants to carry her. I thank God for not terminating it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Mike, you're going to say something for me?
Yes, I was going to say, it's not. It's about whether you have the ability
To handle
to
the child.
handle the child yourself. Because what is the point in having a child and then you now go and give it to someone else to look after? If you have a disabled child, the best thing for you to do is to look after it yourself. Once you don't have the ability,
But why we must consider the poverty level in Nigeria. There's some people that are poor; they can hardly even take care of themselves.
I totally agree.
How to
But-
handle a child with that special need?
but a poor person doesn't even have the ability to have the test in the first place, because that test doesn't come cheap.
Yeah.
So you will not even know until you have the
Why-
baby. And I was going to tell you about euthanasia. Euthanasia is merciful killing. That's really
different. This,
That's
I think this is
different,
infanticide.
yes.
No, but
euthanasia is for old people or sick,
I'm just
very
saying-
sick people.
Yeah, I'm saying that people do things like that, but you those decisions are made by, like for instance, I have someone that has got turned to a vegetable. I just
You gave the example.
gave an example. It's totally different because it's the same.
I was going to say that you'd never really know whether you'd be able to love even a normal child. Some people just lack the ability to love another person.
Yes.
Some people have the ability to love what is really theirs, that a child from their own their direct descendant, but they cannot love another person's child. And so for some, you would never know until maybe when you gaze into that child's eyes. For some mothers who have at one point in time in their lives thought, okay, let me just terminate a pregnancy, would later see that child and love that child no matter the disability that comes.
Let me take Laide's call from Alausa. Laide, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mariah.
Please go ahead. Thanks.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
The topic today is very emotional, as someone said earlier. But you see, that there's a difference between having a child and being able to take care of the child. Expectedly, we all pray to have normal children. But when things come like this, in this part of the world, I think we lack the knowledge and the understanding of taking care of children. So I would have loved that we advocate more, because everything good comes from God, whether able or disabled. Yes. All are gifts from God. But so there's more advocacy, like we have developed world, that all children are good, all children are gifts from God, whether normal or abnormal. Yeah. We should have the knowledge and understanding of how these children can be taken care of. And at the end of the day, we all feel good for it. And we should also be mindful that economic factor is key. Because here in Nigeria, we are largely poor. Mothers are largely poor. Mothers are largely uneducated. So there should be more advocacy.
Thank you so much, Laide. A mutual friend of all of us, we know, so we all know, like, who knows somebody, who I think family member, somebody who I think was born blind, I believe, or deaf or something like that. And talking to the mother sometimes, it's like, what would you have done if you had known? Would you have? It's a difficult question to ask any mother, and it puts you in a difficult position, because as much as you want to love the child, even regardless, no legs, no eyes, whatever, you want to love the child. But as a baby, you can care for, but the child begins to grow up. How does that child function in this society? How does that child function properly in this society?
See,
I need to take a commercial break, then we'll deal with that. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. So before we went on the break, we were talking about, okay, fine, a woman decides to keep the baby, and the baby does become somebody that either is blind, deaf, and has this kind of all sort of syndromes. Now, how, as a mother, do you reconcile, does that child function, especially as an adult? Because you think it doesn't bother the mother, but when that child is 16, 21, 25, 30, what then happens? How do you function?
I think, first of all, when someone has a disabled child, it's very, it's in bad taste to ask, would you have? Because it's already too late. It's now how you are going to maintain, just move forward. It is when you are pregnant or you are 1 month or 2 months ahead.
yeah.
But I think it is a very unfair question to ask someone who has a blind child or a disabled child, a child with Down syndrome, how would you have aborted
But
the
why
child?
But as I said, we've met a lot of children with
Why
Down syndrome that are doing so well.
Someone just called us and said that they actually advised that I know a very close friend of mine, the doctor, she was 40 and the doctor said, the child will come out with Down syndrome, the child will whatever and all that, and advised her to abort the child. But I told her, no, go and seek another opinion. And she ended up, she's living, today, the son is perfectly healthy. And that's the same thing that the caller said. What if there's a misdiagnosis and the child is actually okay? So I can't. The thing is, for me, what is your definition of perfection? Do you understand? Because there's still a place here. There are some people that will say, okay, because of if, for instance, this thing by some chance is made that it becomes law. So some mothers will say, okay, because my child is coming out without arms, does it mean you should take the life of that child? No, because we've seen so many videos on social media. Yesterday, I was watching a video, a fantastic guitarist. He plays with his feet. So, I mean, you can't really say what this child will become.
Yes.
So you really don't have that 100% right to take out the life of that child, because, like I said before, it is not the body housing that controls that child. It is what is inside.
I think I completely agree with Uwa, because nobody should have that right. But let me take this call from TJ. TJ from Ikotun, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Well done.
Thank you.
This is a very tough one to handle. I feel you, but it's not easy. It's a difficult thing to handle, very difficult. If it happens to you, you understand what I'm talking about. It's difficult to handle, very difficult. Even when we have a normal child, after 1 year, a year plus, it's not working. We feel it.
Exactly.
We feel that this child is, when you have a normal child, after a year plus, a year something, it's not working. As a father or mother, you feel it that this child is not working. You are not really happy. Do you understand? So it's a difficult one to handle. You will not understand until it happens to you, and you will realize it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I totally agree with
Yes,
TJ.
yes.
I was going to say that in reality, most mothers would, if you truly want to be honest, would say at one point or the other they've been worried. I had a child my first child, she didn't sit on time. In fact, at 6 months, she was still having problems sitting. And whenever my neighbors come around, they say, hey, Baba Gifra, this what you both think you're doing is not working. Put her inside carton. She will sit down. I did everything. And when she wanted to crawl, she was crawling on her stomach. They said, hey, use Elmorogun to carry her up. I did everything. I was always worried. And, because she didn't do everything fast, when her mates were doing it, I would put her, when it was time to work, when she was 8 months old, I would put her straight on the wall, put her back on the wall and say, good friend, you better come and meet mommy. Walk, you better, it was only me and her and our God in that house that time. But because that's the kind of, I was truly at that point, I was no longer paranoid and getting seriously worried. And when she was 9 months plus, she just started moving. She did everything all together. But everybody that said she would do it later, they didn't give me any kind of assurances. Those people that, kept saying, she's not sitting yet, she's not crawling yet.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant with my daughter, I was spotting. I had to have bed rest because the doctor thought I couldn't, if I was moving about, I would lose the child. At that point, I was worried. That's why I wanted to have that amniocentesis, because I didn't want an abnormal child.
Yeah.
It was, by the time he said for him to do the test, my baby I would be like 5 months pregnant, which is why I didn't do the test. And I don't think anybody has the right to judge anybody.
Exactly.
If your decision, it's your own decision. It's you that know where it is biting you.
Let me take this call from Musumola from Ikorodu. Musu, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead.
I'm a first-time caller.
Hey, welcome to the show.
The topic you brought this morning was very, very emotional because I had a case like that. Then when I got pregnant, no doctor told me the baby is going to have any problem. But I really give God glory now. He cannot talk. He cannot do anything. He cannot do nothing. Inside me because I can't help from nobody. How this topic is very, very emotional. The baby is now 11 years old. If you see him, Morayo, Santiyeni, Uwa, you will pity him, you will pity me, because right from feeling, I have this mother I have nobody to take care of me. I cannot do nothing. I can't work. Even I cannot leave him at home for nobody. I have to take him all down. Now, medical check was stopped because I have no money to continue his medical treatment again. Oh.
As well.
Thank you very much, Musa, for sharing your story.
You know, like what she's saying now, honestly speaking, there are people that don't have that option anymore. Like YK was saying that the baby is already here. I think, you know, in other climes, especially developed countries, the government supports these people because they are still human beings. And it's not everybody that actually wants to go and drop their child in a home. You understand? It's not everybody that wants to drop their child in a home. Whatever it is, we need to start building support systems. The government, when you're fighting and shouting, oh, this one does not have it, they've not passed this, you should remember that the life of every citizen, whether the citizen is what you call normal or abnormal or whatever, every citizen counts. And these people are important.
Let's take some tweets.
You know, it's a very sad situation.
It's a sad situation, but look at Musumola's case now. If she had the option, she probably
but she doesn't have the option anymore.
She doesn't have the option. That's what she's saying. And you can see that she is in pain. So none of us have the right.
She could have foreseen this, that this is how the baby will be at 11 years old.
Let's see some tweets on this.
Okay. Pearl is saying, we need to reorientate our people to accept and love people the way they are, not thinking it's the devil's work. Sharafaddin Adesoya says, abortion is only allowed in life-threatening cases. Sickness does not kill a person, but Allah takes soul at will. Tyrux Rule says, God will never send anyone to this world empty-handed. Regardless of a person's disability, He will always supply a provision.
Musa Iguda says, good morning all. I love your program. It's not good to remove baby at all because there is nothing too big for God. Then Atinuke says, issues like that, it's not everybody that have the mind to keep such child. It's not easy having such child. And I think that's about it.
YK, you want to take a couple?
Pearl says, the medical history of the woman carrying the child is important.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me take this one. Pearl says, okay, sorry, go.
Go ahead, YK.
Normal thing is to first consider the life of the pregnancy bearer. Any other thing may follow, period. This is from Julius Adileke, Taiwo.
Okay, Pearl says, those quoting and going on and on about spiritual are hypocrites. If you call them for help, they would never be there anywhere to be found.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for that.
Right, we need to round up on this, but I think it would be worthy to mention that, for those of us that are Christian, the Bible says God will never give anything you cannot handle.
That's true.
Yes, you're in that situation, if you depend on the strength of God. As I said, like already said, I don't have the right to judge because I'm not in that situation.
You don't have the right to
But at the same time, I know that the Bible tells me that I can handle it because God has given me that strength.
And there's also good in everybody.
When there's good in everybody.
Regardless of their disabilities.
So for someone like Musumola right now, I know she needs a lot of support because people will tell you the same, will give you all this motivational speak. Don't worry, God will help you, and they'll disappear. At the end of the day, it's just you and that child alone. There's nobody else. So that's the reality on ground. But we can only pray for grace, more grace for God to help.
I mean, we have heard what you said, that apart from us, praying for people that, have children with disability, we as friends and, people in the society should be loving and always willing to help with those children. I have a friend who has a child with disability, and that's, for me, I don't know why, maybe not because I pity the child, but that's one amongst our children I love
that you are drawn to.
That I'm easily drawn to. Whenever I visit, that's the person I want to see, and if she's not around, I really don't feel at home there. I think that's how we should, help, so that the person too always feels that, the support that he or she needs to continue to, to push ahead is there.
I just think that, like, for someone like Musumola, I mean, I feel her pain. And if there's any help that anybody can give her, I think this is a good
and also
platform to do it.
YK, they should also ask for help, because people in those kind of situations rather just keep to themselves. Like, I don't want nobody to come and see who I have in my house. Ask for help. This thing is not a secret. That child is not an abomination.
She's asking for help indirectly.
I'm not saying not just her, but other people.
I know a lot of people that hide their children in the houses.
Come out, say, listen, I need somebody to babysit this child for me. Could you I just want to take a few days off. Ask for help. I'm sure your friends around you will definitely want to help.
Don't be ashamed. And if anybody doesn't love your child, that person doesn't love
love
you.
you.
So just, you know, do away with that person. You don't need to keep.
All right, that's all we can take on the show. We already said it was going to be an emotional show today. Thanks, Musumola. Thanks for all, TJ, all that called this morning. Thank you so much. So that's all we can take. See you again tomorrow, Friday. Bye-bye.